Excuse me.
Okay, we are ready.
Welcome to the April 11th, 2022 meeting of the CB6 Budget and Governmental Affairs Committee. My name is Reshma Patel, and I am the chair of this committee. This meeting is called to order at 6:32 p.m. tonight. We are joined by District Manager Jesus Perez and Assistant District Manager Brendan Berth. Members of the public, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. If there is time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. Brendan, did we have any volunteers to take the minutes tonight?
Jim Collins volunteered. However, I do not see him here at this moment. So we will need someone to at least help Jim fill in if he comes in later.
Is anyone able to take minutes? And I'd remind everyone with the new template, we don't need to have such detailed minutes. They can be pretty brief, and we will also have the YouTube recording for you to refer back to anything that you may have missed. Okay, so I don't see any raised hands, Brendan, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay, so we can, go ahead.
I will say Steve and B have taken minutes a fair bit recently, so other committee members.
Brendan, since Jim volunteered, why don't we give him the video since it'll be out for everyone to see and he can use the video to do the minutes.
Yeah, we can do that.
Hey. Thank you for that suggestion, Jesus. And I'd like to point out that Jim has also taken minutes very recently as well. And it's great that he signed up again for today. You all should have received an email from the board office with a link to a doodle sign-up sheet for minute takers at our committee meetings for 2022. And for your convenience, the link to the sign-up sheet is being reposted in the chat right now. We will now take attendance by roll call. Brendan will conduct the roll call.
Committee members, I will call your name and you will unmute yourselves. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce if there is quorum. Jim Collins isn't present, at least not yet. B. Disman.
Present.
Eva Marie Lassiter. Doesn't seem to be here. Karen Moore. Karen's also not present. Steve O.
Present.
Reshma Patel.
Present.
Brian Van Nieuwenhoven.
Present.
And Claudel Winfield.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Brendan. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and is reflected on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. Seeing no hands, we will move forward. The agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from the March 14th meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand through Zoom. And once again, I'd like to thank Steve for having taken the minutes in March. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the March 14th meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB6 website. First, a few ground rules. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe the following ground rules. No one will speak until granted the floor. Committee members, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. The chat function should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. When a committee member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you, and you can unmute yourself so that you can speak. We are required by New York State law to have a transcript of the meeting, so please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. The order of the adopted agenda should be followed. Tonight's agenda: discussion of congressional funding for NYU Langone's Military Center and NYU Langone's Video Interaction Project, review of resolution in support of the State Assembly Bill A642-B and State Senate Bill S284-B, which will require counting affidavit ballots of eligible voters if a voter appears at a polling place in the correct county, but in the incorrect election district. The review of the Register of Community District Needs requests, the chair's report, and any old or new business. We will now take a, oh no, we're not taking, I think we're ready to move on. So Brendan, should we hand it over to NYU to just for the funding proposals, or do you want to give a background? Okay.
Hi, good evening. My name is Hannah Wade. I work in the Office of Government and Community Affairs at NYU Langone. We reached out to Community Board 6 to request letters of support for funding applications that we're submitting to Congress. I want to thank the board and this committee for giving us time to present our requests at tonight's meeting. As a little background, this is the second year in which the Congress has opened up this funding opportunity for state and local governments, as well as nonprofits, to apply for funding. As NYU Langone, we're submitting a request to Senator Gillibrand to support the Cohen Military Family Center at NYU Langone. The center provides free, compassionate care to veterans and military families experiencing the long-term effects of all phases of military service. We're also submitting another request to Congresswoman Maloney to support the Video Interaction Project, which is a parenting program that supports early childhood development and learning. I'm joined by the clinical leaders for these programs this evening so that they can tell you a little bit more about their work and the funding requests and answer any questions that the committee may have. Dr. Amanda Spray from the Cohen Military Family Center at NYU Langone, and Dr. Alan Mendelson and Dr. Annie Seary from the Video Interaction Project. I wanted to see if Dr. Spray could go first because I know she has another engagement following this.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having us. I really do appreciate it. I'm Dr. Amanda Spray. I am a psychologist, and I'm the director of the Cohen Military Family Center at NYU. Our center provides completely free mental health treatment for veterans and their entire families. We focus on therapy first. We're very therapy forward, individual therapy, couples therapy, family therapy, group therapy. We provide therapy for the children of veterans and military service members as well. We do have psychiatric medication management as well available as necessary. We address difficulties such as PTSD, anxiety, depression, substance use disorders, relationship distress, traumatic brain injury, ADHD, and so much more. And I really want to highlight that all of the services we're providing to veterans here in New York City are free of charge, and these veterans would not have access to services otherwise. Their family members do not have access to some of the services that some veterans have access to. They can't get their services at the VA. Many of them don't have insurance or are underinsured. And we provide mental health treatment for all of those family members that we define very broadly. So this is not just a spouse of a military service member, not only partners, girlfriends, boyfriends, parents, children, a very close friend who is caring for a veteran could also come and get services at our center. All of our services are both in person or via telehealth. Of course, with the pandemic, we shifted a lot of our services to telehealth, and we find that that's breaking down a lot of barriers to care. So now services can be obtained both in person and via telehealth. So I could go on and on, but I will not, I promise. But feel free to ask me any questions you may have about the center or the proposal.
But maybe before we'll group questions, maybe Dr. Mendelson and Dr. Siri, would you go next?
Sure. Well, hi everyone. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Alan Mendelson. I am a resident of this district. I live in Kips Bay. I am a pediatrician and a researcher who's worked at NYU and Bellevue now for more than 30 years, actually my whole career. And I've literally provided care to more than 20,000 children during my career working in the Bellevue Pediatric Clinic. I have really devoted my entire professional life to addressing what I think is a core health equity issue. This is the gap that many children face in their readiness to learn when they start school. This puts them at risk throughout their educational careers and also puts them at risk regarding their health and mental health across their lives. My program is called the Video Interaction Project, or VIP, and it addresses this gap by helping parents achieve their goals for their children through sessions that take place at pediatric checkups. And we're also delivering the program through telehealth during the pandemic. The core component of VIP is a coach who meets with families and briefly video records the parent and child reading and playing together, and then actually watches the video in real time with the parent to help parents see their strength and their critical role in supporting their child's development. And the program is completely free. I have led research showing strong and long-lasting effects of the VIP program on child development and for parents and for families. We're here this evening because we are seeking the support that we need to continue in this critical work for the most vulnerable families in our community. We're planning on submitting a proposal for funding from Congresswoman Maloney. I really appreciate your consideration around the possibility of providing a letter of support as we move forward with this proposal, which would be incredibly helpful. And thank you so much for giving us this time this evening.
Thank you, Alan and Hannah and everyone else and Amanda. Is there anyone else, Hannah, that needs to speak from NYU Langone?
I think we are open for questions from the committee at this time.
Sure. So, Claude, I see your hand up.
Yes, I have a very simple question for Amanda. Where does your population, your clients, come from? You know, referrals, requests, etc.
Yes, our number one referral source is actually the Manhattan VA, right there on 23rd Street and First Avenue. That is most of the referrals we get come from there. Our veterans live in all 5 boroughs. We do have many veterans living in Manhattan, particularly those who live close to our offices, come in person.
A simple follow-up. Hold on a minute. What do you perceive would be, since you said they come from the Manhattan VA, what do you perceive would be the effect on your clients with the closing of the VA hospital?
Yes, I think, we already serve many veterans who cannot access care at the VA for a variety of different reasons, and their family members who cannot access care there. So already we're filling this gap that exists even with the VA open. So I cannot imagine what the impact is going to be on New York veterans if that were to come to pass. But right now, I really want to highlight the gap that we fill in services for veterans that exists present day, even without any potential changes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
B, I see your hand up.
Thank you. And mine's going to be a follow-up on Claude's question, because certainly the pandemic has shown that people of color have not been served very well. And I was wondering whether you have any census as to who you would serve. I had dealt a lot with the VA hospital on 23rd Street, so I know the population that's there. But I'm also interested in the pediatrics. Who is the population that we're serving? And do you have any data?
Yes. So we collect a lot of data in the Military Family Center. And we know that the services, the population that we serve is more diverse actually than the armed services. So the armed forces. So we actually, I think as virtue of being in New York and as a function of how I think much emphasis we put on being extremely culturally aware and sensitive to those issues, we serve a very diverse population of veterans. I can get you more data as follow-up. I don't have it at my very fingertips right now, but we serve a more diverse population of veterans than most veteran settings, I can tell you that.
Any other questions? I don't see any other hands up.
I just wanted to ask about the children. Is it the same with the children?
Yes, absolutely. So we collect data on all the children of veterans and military service members that we see, and we see a highly diverse population of military families, particularly who have many mental health and social needs.
Dr. Mendelson, could you speak to the children served by the Video Interaction Project as well?
Sure. We also serve a extremely diverse population. About 95% of the families that we serve are families and children of color. Very.
I will just add that the families that we serve, we ensure that the program is available in multiple languages. It's fully available in English and Spanish. And in this past year, we also underwent a translation to Mandarin Chinese. We're in the process also of adapting to Portuguese so that the program is always available in the family's native language.
Thank you, Alan and Anne. Any other questions? I was wondering, how large is the size of each of these programs in terms of how many people you see, say, on a monthly or yearly basis?
I can tell you in 2021, we saw 430 veterans and family members.
Thank you.
With our program across New York City, we served over 2,500 families across New York.
That's great. And Amanda, you had also mentioned that compared to even the VA, you're serving a more diverse population. Have you done any studies that show that there is a hesitation for more diverse communities to go to the VA and that they would prefer a program like the one you have?
We don't conduct research in our center. We're entirely clinical, so we haven't engaged in any research like that. I will say the population tends to be different, again, because these are veterans who usually cannot get care at the VA. Some are choosing us, but for a large majority, it's because they don't have access to the service. So there might be something there. It's a very good question.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? So everybody should have, and I apologize, we didn't give committee members that much time. We just sent out the resolutions on Friday for everyone to take a look at, but Jesus, thank you for drafting them. And if committee members have gotten a chance to look at it, have any comments, anything further you want to discuss before we let the people from NYU Langone leave and not take up any more of their time, please let us know.
Reshma, I should be clear that NYU Langone provided template letters for each of their programs. But since this board speaks in resolutions, all I did was take them and reformat them into the form of a resolution that could be then sent to our elected officials. So I don't want to take credit for writing any of this. Just to be clear.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, and much appreciated. All the information you gave, that we were able to turn around this pretty quickly. So I don't see any further questions. I think, if you're welcome to stay on, but if the team from NYU Langone needs to leave, you're welcome to leave it.
Thank you again for your time. We appreciate it.
And thank you for the work you do. Oh, wait, I see B has her hand up.
No, it's actually business. I wanted to move the resolution because it's based on the facts, so I
Okay.
wanted, I was
Okay.
going to recommend to move the resolution as written.
Okay. So Hannah and team, you guys don't need to stay on. This is us to approve the resolution. So
I'll second
You
it.
again.
Okay. Thank you so much.
thank you. So we have B has made a motion for resolution, and so B, there are two resolutions. So I think we need to do it separately. One for the Veteran Family Center, and then one for the video interactive.
Yeah,
Process.
it's fine. We can start with the military and then go to the interactive.
Okay. And Claude has seconded. So Brendan, if you could conduct a roll call vote.
Okay. Committee members, when I call your name, please say whether you are in favor, opposed, abstain, or abstain for cause. Before I do that, though, let me just double check. Who is calling from the number with the last three digits of 423? Just so that I know who is voting.
That's Eva Lassiter. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Just wanted to make sure, just want to check as to who is voting. So without further ado, Jim is not here. B. Disman.
In favor.
Ava Marie Lassiter.
In favor.
Steve O.
In favor.
Reshma Patel.
In favor.
Brian Van Nieuwenhoven.
In favor.
And Claude L. Winfield.
In favor.
With 6 in favor, nobody opposed, abstained, or abstained for cause, the resolution on the Military Family Center passes.
Okay, thank you, Brendan. Anyone want to make a motion for the resolution for the video interaction project? B, I see you have your hand up.
Yep, I will make the motion to move the children's interactive video project forward as well as supportive.
Thank you, B. Anyone want a second? Okay, Steve.
I'll second.
Thank you, Steve. So Brendan, if you could take a roll call vote.
Okay. B. Disman.
In favor.
Eva Marie Lassiter.
In favor.
Steve O.
In favor.
Reshma Patel.
In favor.
Brian Van Nieuwenhoven.
In favor.
Claude L. Winfield.
In favor.
With 6 in favor, nobody opposed, abstaining, or abstaining for cause, the resolution passes.
Thank you, Brendan. So the next item on the agenda is our discussion from our March meeting, which was our resolution in support of the state Senate and state assembly bills to make sure that we don't have voter suppression and all our votes get counted when people by some reason end up at the wrong election district, but in this right county. This resolution was drafted by Jim Collins, who unfortunately is not on right now, but he had sent it around today, and I know there wasn't that much notice. So if people want to have more time to take a look at this, we can push it to our next meeting in May. If people are okay with it or want to take a few minutes to read it right now, we can vote on this resolution. Anyone have any objections to voting on it tonight? So Brendan, everyone else has disappeared from my screen now that there's screen sharing. So I don't know if you see any people with hands up.
No, I do not see any people with hands up.
Okay, so hearing no objection, then I will make a motion to have a vote on this resolution.
I see Brian's hand is raised.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Brian. Brendan, if you could do the roll call vote.
Okay. B. Disman.
In favor.
Ava Marie Lassiter.
In favor.
Steve O.
In favor.
Reshma Patel.
In favor.
Brian Van Nieuwenhoven.
In favor.
Claude L. Winfield.
In favor.
With 6 in favor, nobody opposed, abstain, or abstain for cause, the resolution passes.
Thank you, Brendan. The next item on our agenda is the review of the budget register. So I have not gotten any updates from any committee members. So what we looked at and reviewed last time is where we're at right now. I reached out to all the different committees and I assume, as in past years, it'll take a few outreaches before we get updates. And for those of you who are serving on other committees, if you can bring this up with the committee chairs, that would be very helpful. Or update us if the committee has had any discussions. Like I serve on Park, and I know we've discussed it the last 2 meetings. We just aren't at a point where there's something we can update right now. And if anyone on the committee has taken a further look at the Airtable and has any comments, please bring it up at this time. And if you would like us to share the Airtable on the shared screen, Brendan can do that.
Also, let me know if the print is too small for anyone and I need to zoom in any further.
So does anyone have any comments, updates, or thoughts on the Airtable? Any changes that you know of that you would like to make? Okay, so I don't see any hands. The one thing that we did do is we did send our response, which was due in the middle of March to OMB on their comments to the budget request, which we had discussed at our last meeting. So we can move on. The next item agenda is the chair's report. And, my update was that we are in the process of, I reached out to all the committee heads in the process of trying to get the process going sooner this year to get updates both to the Airtable, but also the text, because when we do the community needs statement, the text hasn't changed for a few years and some of the language around our request is dated. And so I'm hoping to have a much better report that we submit in October this year. And Jim has also had been interested for some time and has volunteered to organize a panel on how the city invests its pension funds and how we set the rate at which we assume earnings. And so that will be happening sometime at a future meeting as well. Since Jim has not been able to join, I'll wait till he is at a meeting to give us an update on that.
I apologize, Reshma, both for screwing up the date that the resolution was due to you and to Brendan and anybody else, all the other committee members. And also, I was under the impression we had changed the time on our meetings to 7 o'clock as opposed to 6:30. I thought it was signing on early.
No, that's with land use. Land use changed.
Oh,
time.
all right. All right. Now,
so there, yeah, no worries.
Well, I worry. I'm taking the minutes for the meeting tonight, so I'll have to watch the videotape.
We can send the video to you.
No, I get it. I can find it. I just my calendar and my timing was all screwed up. I marked down for the week following this week, and as I say, I thought we were meeting at 7 as opposed to 6:30.
No, thank you, Jim, for volunteering to do the resolution and to take the minutes. And, these things happen because there's so many meetings. And sometimes also, even I personally, sometimes the updates from CB6 go to a junk folder instead of my main folder and I miss stuff. So it's understandable.
My mistakes.
But I see Brian has his hand up.
I figure this is as good a time as any to just kind of take the temperature of the committee, because a lot of the other committees do meet at 7 o'clock instead of 6:30, and we have not discussed a potential time change for budget in a very long time. The last time that this was discussed was possibly 7 years ago, and it didn't go over well, but at the same time, the composition of the committee is very different now. So I think if anybody wants to change the time of the meeting, regular time of the meeting to 7, it's something that we can do to be more consistent with the other meetings of the board. But if we want to keep it at 6:30, that's something Well, that's status quo, so nobody would have to really argue very hard for that. But anyway, thought I'd just bring that up.
No, thank you for the suggestion. I am open to 6. I'm fine with 6:30, but if people feel strongly about 7, I'm fine with that too. Maybe it's helpful that everything's at 7, that people know, or sometimes people may have, personal constraints that make 7 better for them. If anyone else has any thoughts on this. Are people happy with the 6:30, or there's anyone who would? Oh, Karen Moore, I see your hand up. Karen?
You're muted, Karen.
Sorry, I just joined because I had a 6 to 7 o'clock meeting, which is fairly often. So if folks don't care, 7 would be more convenient. But it doesn't happen every week or every month. So if folks feel strongly about 6:30, then I'm happy to keep it as is as well.
My view is, I mean, I just grabbed a hamburger and thought we were meeting at 7 o'clock. So, my mistake. It just makes more. It would be nice if everything was on the same plane, And
that makes sense. And Brendan, what was the reasoning to changing land use from 6:30 to 7?
It was honestly something that the chair of that committee suggested, and nobody had any objections to the change.
Okay. So shall we take a vote then to see if we want to change it to? I mean, I think Karen it's not unusual. Many people do have work meetings that last longer past 6 o'clock. So I'm open. Maybe we take a vote with the committee, or we could send out an email later, because if everyone who's on the committee is not attending right now, if we want to have everyone have an input on this.
So actually, everyone from the committee is here right now. So, if you do want to take a vote by raised hands to see who would prefer 6:30 and who would prefer 7, we can do that.
Okay, so why don't we do that? So all those who are in favor of moving the meeting time of the CB6 Budget Committee to 7 p.m. from 6:30 p.m., please raise your hand.
I'm trying to raise my hand. Where do I do that? Jeez.
Down the bottom.
Or we can just.
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Yes, me
I was
too.
gonna say, we are going to take your
You'll have
verbal.
to poll Ava directly.
Yes. Ava, can you hear us?
You have to have the full screen up to find the hand.
Yeah, if it's minimized, you don't see it. Eva? Okay, maybe she's on mute. I don't see.
No, she's not on mute.
Okay.
How does the staff feel? Let's poll the staff since they're.
Oh,
they're
that's a
stuck with it.
good point, because you are the ones who have to stay longer. Brendan, does it work for you for 6:30 versus 7?
So my position on it is that we're, one of the things that we're paid to do is to help support the board. So my own position is whichever time works better for the committee, we will find a way to accommodate.
Mhm.
Okay, so
I will say though, since I oversee, the meetings, I oversee timesheets and things like that. Yes, if it's better for 7, it is. You do what you want. It does mean that people stay later. It does mean that more comp time is earned, because that's something that when a staff member stays late for a meeting, for city rules, they have earned comp time. So that's something we need to be mindful of. I would just say, make sure to make good use of the meeting time, everyone do the reading, do all that stuff, so that when the staff stays late, it's for a good reason. I will say, I was looking at the other committees. We have a list of all the committees. 2/3 of them meet at 6:30, 1/3 meet at 7. You know, for whatever it's worth.
Oh, so that's very helpful. And now I am torn on this.
Yeah, I think I would move to reconsider or to consider this at
You
a
can't do
at a
that
later
yet,
meeting.
Jim. We didn't finish the vote.
No, I
Yes.
know, but
You have to
I'm
let us
just
finish the vote.
So I also, Jim, I only see 3 hands raised. So I think that the motion is actually not going to pass.
Right.
Right. But we can reconsider it at another meeting.
Right. Yeah, I was curious about the comp or the overtime as well.
You know, we're earning. Well, I'm not eligible for that, but Brendan and Alex are. They're earning at quite a healthy rate. But I think that's largely a function of the fact that we have 12 standing committees, and that including full board, and that they, at least the practice of this board has been to meet every month, you know, whether there's something pressing or not. And that may be something that in the future may not be as sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because funding could change, but I see B has her hand up.
Now, before you took the vote, I was going to actually say to stay the course, because to me, it's more significant not to go into the wee hours of the evening, even though I knew about the comp time, and to be considerate of people, especially when we do the budget, you know, of budget needs and stuff. That takes a long time to do. So I appreciate Jesus giving us the statistics of how many meet at 6:30, and I would recommend we stay the course unless we're going to change meetings to every other month or stuff of that nature. So I was going to say that before the vote.
Okay, thank you. And Steve, your hand is up. Is that from the vote, or did you have a comment?
A comment.
Yes.
I'm assuming any time change will also reflect if we decide to be in person. Virtually, this would be easy to do if it was 6:30 or 7, because we could do it from the comfort of a device at home. But if whatever reason plans change where we have to convene at a location, I'm assuming any time change will have to meet, would also include if we had to meet in person. So I think it makes sense to refer to another time to vote on this.
No, that's a good point, because someone who may be able to make it at 6:30 right now, if they have to commute, may not be able to make it at 7, or if you have to commute, they don't want to be walking home at 9 p.m. from a meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and I apologize for being late. I'm curious, did the issue of the fact that the VA hospital on 23rd Street is scheduled to be closed, did that come into play with respect to the discussion about the NYU VA Center?
No, it did not.
Okay. Well, let's say again.
Can I request that we follow Robert's rules? Can we continue to vote and then move on to the other topics, because you're in the middle of a vote and you didn't complete the vote?
Okay.
Okay. And Claude, was that your comment? Because I saw your hand is up.
Yes. If everyone's commented on it, and you know, we've heard what everyone thinks, can we just complete the vote so we're, you know, following Robert's rules? Okay.
So I thought we had done the vote because I'd only seen 3 hands, but let's just do it again to follow Robert's rules. So a show of hands for anyone who would like to change the meeting time from 6:30 to 7. And Brendan, if you can just see how many hands are raised.
Yes. At the moment, I only see 1 hand raised.
Okay, so the motion to change the meeting time does not pass.
But I abstain.
Oh, you abstained.
Okay. I want you to take the total vote.
Yeah, I should. Okay, so I need to learn Robert's rules better.
So I abstain for cause. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we have 1 in favor, 1 abstain for cause, and then I assume that I see 7 people on. Is it then 5 nays there? I mean, that don't want to change the time?
Well, just so that we're clear, anyone who's in favor of keeping it at 6:30, please raise your hand on Zoom. And Eva Marie, I know you're dialing in, so if you could let us know just vocally whether you want to keep it at 6:30 or change it to 7. I do see 5 hands raised though, so the majority of committee members want to keep it at 6:30.
Yep.
Yeah. We have 1 abstain for cause, just to note for the minutes.
Yes, or both votes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so going forward, we will still be meeting at 6:30, but it is open to consideration at a future time, especially if we decide to move in person again. So if there's any other old or new business to discuss?
Just with respect to the VA hospital, I don't know if committee members are aware that the city or the VA is looking at closing East 23rd Street, and it's significant given the resolution that I presume passed this evening, the NYU mental health reso that was distributed earlier today.
Yeah, it was passed, and that center has been there. And so it's not that because the VA is going, but they do want extra funding from Senator and the Senator Gillibrand support for that. But it is a valuable, it didn't come up a discussion, but it is valuable point to make perhaps in the resolution that the VA may be shutting.
Is there anything going on as a committee chair that was discussed at XCOM or any of that where there was discussion of the VA maintaining the VA hospital on 23rd Street?
No, not that I remember. Brian has his hand up, so perhaps he remembers something that I forgot.
Essentially, it's not at a point right now where it's something that Congress is considering for public comment or has advanced to any sort of late stage. It is just an idea that just keeps coming up from time to time within the Veterans Administration as a possible future alignment. They consider that the hospital is projected to be underutilized, but these proposals have never gotten anywhere in the past either. So the reporting in the newspapers was correct in the sense that the agency has brought up the idea. However, there are no concrete steps that anybody is taking, and there's no public review for us to respond to. If the board wanted to resolve to keep the hospital open, or if the board wanted to write a letter to the VA saying that we wanted some input in that process, that is something I guess we could do. I'm just brainstorming, but at this point, no, it's just very amorphous thing that it doesn't seem like we have anything really need to react to.
Thank you, Brian. And Jesus?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a reminder to everyone, please check the CB6 calendar and website frequently. The Health Committee at its Thursday meeting this week will actually be taking up this very topic on the proposed or prospective closure of the VA hospital, in part because of the newspaper articles that have been coming out recently. So anyone who has a keen interest on this would be well advised to attend the Health Committee meeting. I'm going to put the calendar link for our CB6 website. You'll find the Health Committee meeting information right there. That will be a topic of discussion at that meeting on Thursday. If you're interested in some history, Claude actually reminded me that this board way back in 17 years ago passed resolutions related to this. And so I went in search of these resolutions and dug them up, and they're now on the CB6 resolution tracker. You can filter by topic VA hospital, and you will see the resolutions that CB6 has passed at least the ones that we're aware of, on there. And you'll also find, for a limited time, we managed to track down a borough board resolution that went for that same year, 2005, where borough board asked that no closure happen and that no diminution of services also happen there. So for historical record, it may be a good thing to go and check it out. Thank you.
And just as a point of record, the resolution tracker has been posted to the chat.
Thank you, Brendan.
Okay. Thank you, Jesus, for that reminder and for that background information. And Claude has his hand up.
I was just going to comment, but Jesus made the comment already, but there is historical data that Jesus has dug up, and it's very interesting. That long time ago, it did originate with Margarita Lopez, the whole interest in terms of keeping the VA hospital, and Eric Lugo and myself, we worked on the borough board resolution that he's referring to. So I'm very appreciative of Jesus digging all of that information up. Thank you.
All right. Any other old and new business?
No.
Okay, so then we're done. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. And just again, my apologies.
No, thank you. All right, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. And I don't think that needs to be seconded. So I think we're done.